Hello, if you are new, my name is Jo. Oh my gosh, I just stirred up so much fluff moving these books around. That's embarrassing. Okay, today we are going to do a book haul, but it is a bit of a non-traditional book haul. Some of these books are new to my collection, but the majority of them are not. They are what I call my unread shelf. I keep all of my unread books separately. I have been on kind of a waxing and waning journey of clearing my unread shelf for several years now, and I would like to make some more progress on that. I do have a lot of books that I don't own that I'm very excited about reading, so I know that I won't be dedicating myself entirely to my unread shelf, but I thought maybe if I haul them on my channel and describe to you why I am excited about reading them, maybe then I will be more motivated. So the first one is one that is actually pretty new to my collection, and this is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This and another book on here I actually purchased at a brand new used bookstore in my area that I stopped by to support, and they don't have a huge selection yet, so I just ended up picking up two classics. I have wanted to read Frankenstein for many years. This was kind of a classic that passed me by as a, child or teen. I never got around to reading this, and so I really would like to, and I think that October is the perfect month to read it in, so I am hoping to get to this in the latter half of October. Next up we have Te-Anu, possibly. I don't actually know how to say that. This is the fourth book in the Earthsea cycle by Ursula K. Le Guin. It's a classic fantasy series by one of my favorite authors of all time. I do really enjoy this series. I don't like it quite as well as some of her science fiction that I have read, but this is beautiful, and I wish that I had read this series as a kid, because then I do think that I would have liked it just as well as all of the other fantasy series that I loved as a kid. But I would like to read the entire series still. I would ideally like to read all of her works. Our next two books, I don't know that I will necessarily actually read from cover to cover, but I have 101 Amazing Sights of the Night Sky and 50 Hikes in Ohio. Both of these are from my sister, and these are obviously like informational books that I can use to plan outings and such, so I would like to look through these in more detail and kind of plan some day trips or night trips or something. This is The Twilight Zone by Nona Fernandez, and this is a translated work that I picked up in Chicago at one of my all-time favorite bookstores that I've ever been to, which was Exile in Bookville. It was so cool. They had such an interesting selection of books, so many books that I want to read, so many books that I'd never heard of but looked absolutely incredible, a very wide selection of translated books. It was just an incredible looking bookstore. It's in the old arts building, and it was just incredible. Highly recommend it if you ever get to Chicago. But this book is by a Chilean author, and it is about a Chilean secret police officer who apparently walks into a reporter's office and confesses to all of the torture and other things that he claims to have done during the Pinochet dictatorship. It sounds super fascinating and disturbing. We have Save Me the Waltz by Zelda Fitzgerald. I have actually tried to read this book so many times. I bought it actually in Shakespeare and Company in Paris in 2013, the only time I've been to Paris, and I really loved F. Scott Fitzgerald at that time. I also bought one of his books while I was there. I haven't reread any of his books in a long time, so I would struggle to tell you how I feel about him now, but I do want to try to get through this book. But every time I've tried to read it, I have not enjoyed the writing style. And I know that this was heavily kind of censored or edited by her husband and everything. Yeah, again, I haven't tried to read this in years, so I would like to give it another try. I had at one point just kind of taken it off my unread shelf and put it on my regular shelf because I didn't really want to get rid of it because I am sentimentally attached to it since I got it in Europe, but I don't ordinarily keep any books that I haven't read over here. But I decided to put it back on the unread shelf because I feel like she deserves to be read, or at least given a full chance. Another tortured female author, I have the Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. I did at one point make it maybe a third or more of the way through this, but that was 10 or 15 years ago probably. And so I really, really want to read this, or at least skim it and feel like I have gotten what I'm going to get out of it. I think that this is brilliant. Like, it's one thing to have written a book that is amazing, that you spent years probably writing and rewriting and editing and having other people edit, you know, honing down on it and having it be really, really good and talented. But to have your journals that you just wrote on the spur of the moment be incredibly beautiful is wild. I have not reread any of her works since high school or just after high school. So I would be interested to reread like The Bell Jar and see how I feel about it as an adult, because I know that there are a lot of racist things in it. I'm interested to see how I feel about her writing as an adult. Yellowbird by Sierra Crane Murdoch is a nonfiction book about a kind of oil boom town or area that crops up in North Dakota near the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation. Apparently an oil worker went missing and no one was really apparently looking for him, and so a young woman from that tribe kind of took on the case and started obsessively looking for him on her own. It's a very interesting premise. I was given this as a gift. To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. This would be my third Virginia Woolf, I believe. I really, really love her writing. I've read about 40 pages maybe of this, but I was just kind of reading other things at the time and ended up just kind of setting this aside, but I was really enjoying it. I think I will probably just restart it, but I think I will really like this. I have liked everything else of hers that I have read. So I have two nonfiction books by the same author here, Skill in Action and Finding Refuge by Michelle Cassandra Johnson, and she does like racial justice work in yoga, spirituality, community work. Both of these are kind of about acknowledging where you are at in your self-healing and collective healing journeys and working on that. And I would like to work my way through these. I just, have not made time to do it yet. Next up, we have Orientalism by Edward Said. I did get 84 pages into this. Very academic, in my opinion. Very interesting. Yeah, it takes a bit to make your brain focus, and I do really, really want to read it, but I just haven't worked up the motivation to pick it back up. It is about how the West has perceived the East throughout history, and the both fetishization and exploitation and vilification and all of the complicated ways in which we perceive the East that really are something completely separate from the actual East and what they are actually doing. Like, we have this perception that is its own basically living entity, totally apart from what's actually happening there. So anyway, very fascinating. Another super academic work. You will begin to see a theme here. A Dying Colonialism by Frantz Fanon. So this is another foundational academic of kind of the 20th century, I believe. Basically, at one point when I was ordering, I think this and something else, I really wanted The Wretched of the Earth, but the site that I was ordering from was out of stock of that, and so I got this one instead. And I do think I might wait and read The Wretched of the Earth first, or Black Skin, White Masks, because this one is very specifically about the Algerian Revolution, and I don't know anything about the Algerian Revolution. So I have read 60 pages of this, but it was very difficult reading because I don't know anything about it. I was still getting things out of it, but I just think that I would be better off starting with one of his other works. So anyway, we'll see. Another classic that I picked up at the local bookshop was Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. I have read excerpts from this for classes, but I have never read it in full. And I did really like what I read for classes, so I just want to read it in full. So in this story, you are following the character Janie kind of throughout her life. I believe she has several marriages throughout this. That's just what I remember from reading excerpts. But this accident of being lost is by the same author as The Islands of Decolonial Love, which was one of my favorite books of 2021, I think. This is in the same format, which is kind of short stories or musings, some poetry or songs. I absolutely loved that book so much, and so I am really surprised that I haven't gotten around to this one yet. This is a Anishinaabe author, and so she is writing about kind of the modern indigenous experience of generations of colonialism and erasure that she and her people have experienced. Based on the other book, I expect it to be very sad but incredibly beautiful at the same time. Also in Chicago, I got Like a Mule Bringing Ice Cream to the Sun by Sarah Ladipo Manyika. This is an author originally from Nigeria, and this book is about an older Nigerian woman living in San Francisco and kind of the community that she encounters around her, people that she comes into contact with, and it just sounds like a very interesting short read. Back on our academic reads, I have Staying Alive by Vandana Shiva. I have read one chapter of this and it was great. But again, I'm keeping along with my theme. I am not good at reading academic things, so I will probably have to have a video just themed around reading all of my academic books that I have left, which will probably take me a good long while. But this is specifically about women in relation to nature and the environment and development as a kind of pursuit of particularly the Western world, and how that kind of violates the relationship with nature and that sort of thing. And it's all very much up my alley of things that I'm interested in. And this one I do recall being more readable than some of the other ones, so hopefully it will be a success. The Problem of Work by Kathy Weeks. Feminism, Marxism, Anti-Work Politics, and Post-Work Imaginaries. So this one I also have read about a chapter of, and this one is very difficult to read, but something I find extremely interesting. And so yeah, I want to know more about it. Probably the most intimidating book on this list is Black Marxism, which is just so chunky. This is by Cedric J. Robinson, and I really, really want to read this book. I am very, very interested in it because many of the books that I see recommended about kind of theory and that sort of thing are from white men. You know, you have like your stereotypical Marxist writers and that sort of thing. And I haven't read a lot of those, but I just want to make sure that I am not only reading from those people when I do. So I'm very, very interested in this. I have read basically the first page, and this is also extremely difficult writing. So I would really love it if people who write about these kind of topics could stop writing like the only people reading their books are, you know, multi-doctorate people. Like, How do you expect to lead a revolution for the people when the people can't read what you write? Anyway, my final book is The Weird, which is a compendium of 110 weird stories. This is edited by Anne and Jeff Vandermeer, who Jeff Vandermeer is one of my favorite authors. These stories span from 1908 to 2010. Kafka, Lovecraft, Ray Bradbury, Daphne du Maurier, George R.R. Martin, Jamaica Kincaid, Octavia E. Butler, Haruki Murakami, Angela Carter, China Miéville, Neil Gaiman, Stephen Graham Jones. Just so many people that I want to read, and I think that this will be so much fun. I am thinking about hosting a weird readathon in January, so I think if I do that, this will definitely be in my TBR, not to read the whole thing, I don't think, but maybe like a story a day or something like that. I have read maybe 4 of the stories, but I need to just commit to slowly working my way through it. I'm not very good at doing that, as you can see from all of these books. If I can't read it generally all in one go, I kind of struggle to finish it, but we're gonna work on that. So that is my unread shelf. Hope that introducing all of these to you will give me additional motivation to read them. If you see anything that you would like to do a buddy read of or anything, definitely let me know in the comments and I would be happy to do that. I would really like to have most of these cleared out sometime next year and just keep space on my shelf for, 5 of my closest unread book friends. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.